What's up YouTube? I'm Vaughn and this is the Gear channel where we discuss collectibles, hobbies, competitive games from tabletop to video games, and today we are discussing a Yu-Gi-Oh ruling that one of my friends actually asked me, and it was, can you use Albion the branded dragon under Droll and Lockbird? And the answer is yes. Now there has been a few debates and people associated Droll and Lockbird with Ash Blossom, but Ash is not the exact same thing because Ash negates an effect that has to do with the following, while Droll Lockbird restricts you of a specific action. So in today's video, we're going to show you how to determine which effects can and can't be activated under restrictions. But first, friendly reminder to definitely like and subscribe, and especially subscribe if you guys want to enter in our amazing giveaways. And also, it really helps the channel a lot because we are so close to getting 1,000 subscribers, and I believe we're only missing 30 subscribers. So make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Now for today's demonstration, we want to deal with Droll and Lockbird and the specific restriction of adding cards. So when dealing with restriction, there are three types of effects that you have to determine if it can or can't be activated, which are if the effect prioritized in adding card, if effect is optional in adding card, and finally, is there other alternative than just adding a card? So effects that prioritize, as example, a Pot of Greed. Now, if you're not familiar with Pot of Greed, it's a card that allows you to draw 2 cards. And yes, drawing cards is considered adding. But not all effect prioritize in the exact wording of adding right away. And this is what determines if you could activate the card or not. So Pot of Greed, yes, you cannot activate it because it states priority that it is adding a card. But if we look at another card like Pranket's Roxy, which banishes the cards, then adds, is also an effect that prioritizes in adding a card. Even though it states to banish first, you still can't attempt to activate a Pranket's Roxy under a restrictive effect like Droll and Lockbird. But what would happen if a player changed Droll and Lockbird to a Pranket's Roxy? Well, this is where the saying goes that a lot of you guys might be familiar with, but you don't understand exactly why, and that is to resolve as much as possible. So this usually occurs when a restriction effect is usually applied and chained after a specific effect. So if Droll was chained to Roxy, then Droll is going to resolve, prevent players with a specific restriction of no longer adding card. And since Roxy did activate, you have to banish the card, and it's going to stop to the point where it involves no longer adding. So since you're going to banish a card, you won't be able to draw, and that's the end of the effect. So dealing with these type of scenarios, you have to keep in mind that chaining restrictive effects will usually cause a resolve as much as possible scenarios. Now, if we look at our next effects of optional add to hand effects, like a Chaos Ruler. Chaos Ruler allows you to reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. Choose a light or dark, which is optional. It can choose a light or dark monster to add to hand, and the rest gets sent to the graveyard. So even without Droll and Lockbird being activated, you could still choose not to do the effect. And that's one good way to determine if a card can be activated under restrictive effect, is even without the restrictive effect, if you could still choose not to, then you could definitely do it under a restrictive effect. And then finally, we do have the alternative effects. So like Albion, the branded dragon, simple and completely the same as the optional effect. So if you could do this without a restrictive being activated, you could definitely do it under a restrictive. So if Droll is live and active, and you could choose just to simply set the branded spell and trap instead of adding it, you can do so as well. So it's quite simple. If you're ever dealing with a restrictive effects, you could just choose the other option that is not associated with the restriction. Now, these tips can be applied with other restrictive effects, like even a summon limit or a dimension shifter. So you can apply these tips. Just remember the following: if the effect prioritized, you can't activate it. If the restriction is chained to a prioritized effect, you have to resolve as much as possible. If it's optional, then you could definitely play it. Or if it has an alternative, you could definitely play it as well. And that's it for our discussion. Now, if you guys enjoyed today's video, you know what to do. Like and subscribe, and especially subscribe if you guys want to enter in that giveaway. And if you want a sneak peek of future products we're planning to review here on the channel, you can follow me on my Instagram, VaughnGear. I'm Vaughn, and this was the Gear Channel.